Listeners, this is your trigger warning.
We are going to discuss many sensitive topics, including but not limited to depression, anxiety, body dysmorphia,
Substance abuse disorders, suicidal thoughts and ideations, and innumerable triggering situations.
We are all about shining a light on what we're going through.
And that's not always going to be pretty.
Listen at your own discretion.
And please, reach out if we need to be doing something better.
If you need help now, call 988 for the National Suicide Hotline.
Or 911 for immediate emergency intervention. Welcome, everyone, to the No Streetlights podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Tim. We'll be diving deeply into what we've been through, how it changed us, and what we've learned.
We want to crush stigmas through exploration and raw, honest discussions. Let's come together and break through these social norms by being vulnerable and open with each other. So take a breath, relax, and be welcome.
Thank you to Highland Markle for the original music, as well as all the pre- and post-production assistance.
We couldn't have done it without you, brother. Thank you.
You can find him on the gram at HYLANDMARKLE for all your mixing and mastering needs. So, Aaron, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing really good. A buddy of mine got me inspired to start exercising again.
Uh-huh.
So this morning I did 30 minutes of cardio of rollerblading around my neighborhood.
Wow.
All the other dads in the neighborhood are confused when they see me rolling by. Again, big beautiful beard man, covered in tattoos, rollerblades, shorts. That's it. Topless. My pale ass white legs. Oh, I wear a big straw hat now. The one that's in our profile picture.
Yeah.
I wear that since the wife got it for me. So
I love that.
it's
That's
just me
awesome.
wearing a big alien sun hat and like, and I'm like clearly in pain.
Yeah.
And I'm like waving to everyone and smiling, and they're like, "That guy is terrifying." And I'm like, "This hurts so bad."
Dude, that kind of goes back to like that whole crazy person thing.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be like an urban legend.
Yeah.
Like a cryptid.
Yeah, you're the neighborhood crazy guy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's like every day at like 9:40 in the morning or something. Oh wait, guys, look outside the window. Oh, dude, there's that guy. What the hell is he doing?
There's the reflective man. I glow in the sun, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Are you like a Twilight vampire? Like,
Well, I have a ginger beard, so
Yeah.
you know I carry the ginger gene, so I'm pretty much see-through in the winter. So
it's kind of cool,
since
actually.
I just started rollerblading, I probably blind people whenever I roll by.
I'm blinded every time I see you, but that's just because of your charming personality. So bright. God.
If you keep this up, I'm going on strike, Tim.
As you should.
Fuck it. Unionize.
Union. God, I wish I could unionize. You know, same kind of thing, right? I've been recently very inspired to start focusing on my physical health. And, I'll discuss more about that later once I, start seeing a lot more changes. But before that, I want to talk about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Aaron and I have faced many challenges on our journeys of personal growth, including many pertaining to mental health. That's why we're excited to talk about our sponsorship with BetterHelp.
No matter what you're going through, be it depression, anxiety, relationship, or identity issues, or if you just need an outside perspective on what you're going through, BetterHelp can be an incredible option for you.
Knowing how and where to get effective, affordable therapy is a major concern for many people. And with BetterHelp, you can connect with a licensed therapist from the comfort of your own home.
Schedule appointments and attend sessions on your phone, laptop, or tablet. You can even message your therapist whenever you need their support. If you're interested in giving therapy a try, check out betterhelp.com/nslp for No Streetlights Podcast, or click the link in the description to start your journey of improving your mental health and becoming who you want to be.
By using our link, you'll get 10% off your first month, and you'll be helping our message reach even more people. Thank you all for your support. Today, the wife and I decided to go to a nearby park, and we decided to go for a run outside. It's the first time I've worn a tank top in public in probably 3 years, just so I could, wear it to go running. And we also decided to spice it up a little bit, and we brought weights with us because today was shoulder day. So we did 2 laps around this park, which 1 lap is a mile. The second lap, well, it's a little bit less than a mile.
The second lap is like 30 miles.
Yeah, when everything was all said and done, we did about 1.75 miles, which, that's the most I've ever done in a straight cardio exercise. And I couldn't run the whole thing, but I tried. I tried really hard.
Yeah.
So then after we got back to the car, we pulled out all the weights, and we're just standing there on the grass lifting. I had my phone playing my workout playlist in the background, and we were getting it in.
Hell yeah.
So I say mental health wise, and serotonin and endorphins and all those good things that's flowing through my brain. Good day, positive day.
Good. Yeah. This weekend is definitely me like crawling out of the hole I was in last week, which is nice.
Yeah, I was kind of worried because whenever we talked last, you said that your depression had been kicking your ass a lot, and that's always concerning. Not, I just want you to be feeling good,
Yeah, I hear you, and I think that concern is healthy, but luckily I have a bunch of really good coping mechanisms. I know I can identify my cognitive distortions thanks to my, cognitive behavioral therapy I've done. And just the fact that we like to take an objective look at what we're doing and what we're going through. That was funny as shit. When you pulled your glasses away, it looked like you had googly eyes.
God.
Did you see that?
No, I can't see anything without my glasses, actually.
Yeah, me either.
I'll get it in the video playback
that
we're not recording for this episode.
Yeah, I think that's going to be one of our Patreon tiers, is they get to look at our stupid faces while we're
recording an episode.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's one of the tiers, man.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Like I said, I've got this exercise routine going. I'm taking my medicine. So I just kind of had to have faith in the fact that things get better,
Yeah.
So kept working at it, and now we're crawling out.
Yeah.
You've been having a blast here recently, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, kind of.
What have you been getting into, Tim?
I mean, I do feel like there's been a lot of moments where things have been kind of coming all up Tim, Yeah. God, what was it? Back in May, I think I kind of got my first high of the year. No, I'm sorry. March, I got my first high of the year. I got promoted, and I got a job that I have been incredibly excited to do for a very long time, and I love it. I've been loving it this entire time. Then May comes around, and I get to meet Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. I got their autographs. I gave Jensen Ackles a challenge coin. Those two are some of my biggest heroes. Oh, I gave Jared my badge.
Oh.
Yeah. Jensen got a badge
How
too.
disappointing.
Jensen got a little bit of extra love from me.
Well, I mean, he's Dean.
Yeah, I'm a Dean girl. I can't
Oh,
help
no.
myself. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because you're the Sam, so you have to love Dean.
Yeah. And you're Dean, so you have to love me.
I love you so much.
God, I love you too. Especially with your
so
beard.
many forehead kisses.
So many forehead kisses. God. I love it when you tuck me in at night and read me a story and give me my forehead kiss.
Dude, whenever you need it, I'm here.
So yeah, but no, I do kind of feel like a lot of positive things have been surrounding me lately, and you know, maybe that comes from the fact that I've changed how I view things, or I've gotten some medication to kind of try and help me fight off that anxiety and everything. But I do feel like I keep rolling the dice and things keep coming up, Tim.
But I'm sure you're still you're still having difficulties despite that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I guess explaining all this, right? Like, I'm kind of more of a naturally positive person. I like to kind of see the bright side of everything. So explaining this all I can think about is like, oh yeah, these good things happen and these good things happen. But there have been a lot of stresses and anxiety that's happened in between those. A lot of financially related things. And, you know, I still have my moments where I have to kind of like recenter myself to remind myself of the positive things. Like, you know, kind of like how you were talking about last week, you were feeling depressed and now you're kind of on your way out of that hole. I do find myself in that hole still. I just don't talk about it much.
Yeah. It's hard to be depressed when everything is coming up, Tim.
Yeah.
Because people be like, dude, everything's perfect. How can you be sad? And you're like, my brain just hates me sometimes. It's like my wife will be like, how are you feeling? And I'll be like, I'm really sad. She's like, can I do anything? Like,
no.
Nope. I'm just real sad right now, man.
Just really glad you're here. Like, I'm sad, but I'm also glad you're here. You're my support system, but I'm still going to be sad for a little bit. I have to work through that.
Yeah. I think it's cute. We have a little thing where like, whenever I get like that, I'm her storm cloud. So I definitely imagine like your wife's animation style of like my little teeny tiny wife in like her, and then she's got like a little storm cloud floating over behind her that's like actually terrifying, and it's me.
It's just like, it's your face, but your beard is like nothing but cloud and you're just raining.
Just thunder and lightning and stuff. Yeah. She's like, Rah! Yeah, man. It's
what kind of, because you mentioned it earlier, right? So you're kind of digging yourself out of this hole, this depressive feeling that you had last week. So what kind of coping mechanisms have you been using?
So, first off, I'm surrounded by incredible people, as people are probably getting tired of hearing me say how amazing all my friends are, but
brag about it, baby.
That's number one, man. Like, I just have incredible friends who I can talk to. I can chop it up. You know, you guys send me memes. And when things get really dark, you know, I have the go-to argument of like, you know, way too many people would be sad if I was gone. So that is like my backstop. That's like my, you know, final safety mechanism. But before we get to that, like, we don't use our phones in bed, so that promotes good sleep hygiene. So we read at night to calm ourselves down and wind down and get to bed. Even though I'm full-time retired right now, working on these projects with you, and that's pretty much it. I still wake up at like 6:30 in the morning, wake my wife up, we get everyone ready and feed everyone, and I try and be productive throughout the day, vacuuming around the house and taking care of projects and planning for the podcast and, just, staying busy. And I listen to music. I get out and get some sunshine. I have to take the dogs out pretty regularly since Walter's so little and still pees whenever he just needs to pee. And now I'm being physically active, which is going to help incredibly. And I'm holding myself accountable, which is proving that I'm strong and disciplined. And,
Yeah.
That helps with confidence and stuff. So I think it's just showing up. How we talked about the other day for TFG was like, do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, I still have to exercise because I told my buddy Tim that like I was going to work on something with him, or I have to do the dishes because, the wife gave me the side eye about a sink full of dishes whenever I'm, home all day and stuff,
Yeah.
So even some days, like where all I do is survive, at the end of the day, I count that as a win. I'm like, dude, I made it. So, positive mental attitude is a huge thing that a lot of people underrate. And all my other successful depressed friends, like that's it. Just, I have some friends who are living out of spite, but I think it can be summarized. I talked to my friend Jesse before our leadership episode, and he said he would summarize his leadership as like just purpose. You have to give people purpose. You have to find your purpose.
Right.
And I was like, for me, it's more about like being empathetic and,
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I think purpose is the way to go though. And he has, more leadership experience. So he's probably right. It seems like that's a pretty effective headline to kind of keep your eye on the prize and have your focus be give people purpose or find your purpose.
Yeah. When you were talking about the positive mental attitude, it really does do wonders to like, sometimes when I wake up, I'm getting ready for work and all I can think about is I have to get in there today. I have to do this. I start creating this mental checklist of things that I have to take care of. And a lot of the times, yes, I could get bummed out by that if I really wanted to. And it has before plenty of times. But shifting my focus onto trying to keep more of a positive mental attitude has really helped me kind of push that bummed out feeling or the depressed feeling or my anxiety or anything. It's really helped me keep that under control. Like, okay, yes, of course, I have to go into work today and I have to go and finish this case I've been working on. But, I get that. I look at it this way. I get that job satisfaction, that quote unquote purpose that Jesse would describe it as. I get that job satisfaction of completing a case, all of my findings and everything is put together. And that's exactly what they have to go off of whenever they're deliberating on it. That's incredible to me, Instead of looking at it like I have to go in and type out all the narration and everything that I've done over the past 2 weeks and look through all my notes and try to recall all this, which I could be bummed out about that, but I don't know. I want to focus on the positive aspect of it.
Whenever I had a pretty high caseload in Japan, like we had a case every work set or every other day or whatever. I did voice memos on my phone. I found that super helpful. If you're not doing that, you might want to think about it.
That would be a really smart idea, actually. I take I do like a shorthand. We're kind of comparing how we work right now, but I've always been like a very shorthand writer kind of person where I start writing out on a piece of paper like this, and then like once something loops back to something, I'll draw arrows and draw pictures and stuff and whatnot. And somehow, some way that whatever chaos is going on in my cerebral process, it looks at that and says, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. You're good.
Yeah. So we were talking about verbal judo earlier when we were writing some scripts and stuff. And there are two big things. One we talked about a few episodes ago or whatever, and I think you wrote it down. That was, I've got an opportunity for you, instead of like, I've got a job or whatever.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I've got an opportunity for you. I need you to do this, this, and this, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, hell yeah. I'm going to have a lot of opportunities for people. The other verbal judo for your own brain, instead of I have to, you can say I get to. Instead of I have to write a report, I get to write a report. I get to show people what happened here.
Yeah.
I get to explain what happened to this person so that justice can be, dispensed.
Dished out as a dish best served lukewarm.
Or so that Skipper can decide what he wants to do. That was something that really helped me, is I would say like, ooh, I get to, instead of, I have to go lead this person who's a pain in my butt, I would say like, I get to figure out how to reach this person.
Yeah. Dude, honestly,
like,
that's a really smart way for, if there is somebody listening to this who is finding a hard time, getting that motivation to do their job every day or something, that could be a very powerful tool for them to use.
Oh man, this person's a real butthole. I don't like whenever they mess with me. Oh, well then you get to do the bare minimum so that if they mess with you, they don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's...
you get to make them eat their own words.
Yeah. Or like David Goggins, you get to snatch their soul whenever they don't get a rise out of you.
You get to slash their tires whenever they keep their car parked in a parking lot overnight.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, that's a crime, and I do not advocate that at all.
Yep. So this is a legal disclaimer.
My lawyer is out there somewhere going, God damn it, I can't believe he said that.
Every jag ever.
Yeah.
No one ever. Every lawyer ever is like, you have the right to remain silent. Just don't say anything. And no one ever listens.
No, never. Everyone always wants to make a statement.
If you're enjoying this episode, consider pairing it with BB's Coffee, a partner to the channel. They've developed a No Streetlights blend that suits our taste perfectly. Has a bright floral bouquet with subtle flavors that reveal themselves the longer you spend with them.
For each sale, we'll be making a donation to Four Paws for Ability, a charity that trains and provides service dogs to veterans and children in need. From now until September 1st, you can use the discount code SUMMERB23 to get 10% off your order.
So that code is SUMMERBEE23. Go to bbscoffee.com now and get our specialty blend or any of their other blends to support a non-profit while getting your daily fix of no murdering juice.
Murdering's bad. Okay.
All the links and stuff will be in the description in case you're not quite sure if it's Summer BEE, or how to spell 23. Joke's on you. It's actually the numbers 2 and 3.
You're the only 2, I 3.
Pick number 3, me lord. So, we've talked about it before, how it's easier to learn from your failures than your successes. But we talk about learning from positive leaders as well as our negative leaders. So, Tim, how are you still learning each day how to succeed when you're not failing? Since you're succeeding, like, what are you doing to make sure you're still evolving and growing?
That's a great question, Aaron. Honestly, every now and then I just have to take a step back, and during these moments where I'm feeling like, oh, I'm on top of the world right now, I have to sit there and think, how did I get here? And I've made it a personal goal, especially with this current fitness thing that I'm going through. I need to be better. I want to be better than who I was the day before. And I'm sure, people have heard that kind of advice before, but it's really resonating with me right now, because just because you find yourself at the top or in first place or whatever it may be, that doesn't mean you need to stop pushing. I've had great opportunities and great things happen to me lately, but the moment that flips and now I have to start trudging through my depression or my anxiety, or they start rearing their ugly head again, I'm going to need to be able to make sure my mindset is still in the right place to continue moving forward, because things are going to get hard. Everything eventually does. It has to. I mean, life cannot be nothing but positivity. I'm a firm believer that everything exists in a neutral state. So I know that there's going to be a negativity somewhere. But as long as I keep my mindset in the right place, I know that I'm continuing to push forward. And when I come out of that negativity, I'm going to be ready to get back.
Yeah. I think that's important, that we believe in balance. There's going to be good, there's going to be bad.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think is really important is, even when you're winning, to be reevaluating and be like, is this the absolute best way I can do this? Or am I doing this to the best of my ability?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there a better procedure I could have in place?
Yeah.
Doing a voice memo on scene, do my notes, do my photos, do my diagrams. And luckily, with our training, it's you need to constantly be reevaluating and grading yourself.
No, whenever I mention the concept of wanting to be better than how I was the day before, that is me accepting that, one, I do need to evaluate what I've been doing, where I'm at, and I need to evaluate how I can get even further, because I know my goal right now, I'm nowhere near it. And I want to reach that goal, but how am I going to do that? And that's kind of, I take that positive mindset that I'm having right now and I spin it in a way that helps me keep myself motivated and happy with knowing that I'm going to be pushing myself even further tomorrow. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah. That's important, I think, to be ready to meet the next challenge.
Yeah.
And excited for the opportunity that you get to meet the next challenge.
Yeah, I'm very excited for the opportunity to get this challenge. Especially when I go to run 8 miles.
Yeah. I'm always excited to get my face punched in.
Yeah. I'm always excited to, not get my face punched in. I don't want to get my face punched in. I've had it happen a couple times. And it'll probably happen a couple more times.
We should totally tell the story about when we were 16, 17, and how you got jumped every single time we weren't hanging out.
Man, the streets of Parkersburg were rough. I mentioned it before, but we used to walk around the streets of Parkersburg from 10 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning. What in the heck were we thinking?
And now we're seeing all this stuff about how the opioid epidemic is centered in the Mid-Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
And we were just children walking the streets.
The Mid-Ohio Valley, there's some awful things that are still going on in there. I mean, you mentioned the drug epidemic, but there's also the missing persons that have been happening there. That's a completely different topic that is probably not best suited for us to discuss, but
we'll talk to crime junkies about it and stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. It blows my mind that we grew up in that area. And actually, it might be directly linked to where our mental health issues came from.
We did grow up. It's nature and nurture, and we were nurtured in the same-ish environment. So
yeah,
definitely a huge factor.
Man, it's very strange. That's a little off topic, I think, but
that's fine.
So let me ask you something, Aaron.
If only they had more streetlights. Anyway, yeah, what's up?
I've already talked about how, like, okay, you know, I'm feeling great. I'm kind of sitting on a throne made out of Tim right now. And, you know, I know how I'm pushing forward, and I know right now with my current mindset, you know, how I'm feeling, but you are climbing out of your depressive state. How, I guess, before you got into your depressive state, you know, I'm sure you were in a pretty positive mind place, because whenever I've spoke to you, you've always seemed pretty good. And then, you know, your depression kind of showed up. How do you cope with that while you're in your positive mind? You know, hey, I know this is going to happen. This is what I need to do in order to stay on top of it. And then when that moment finally comes, do you actually implement what you say you're going to do?
Kind of. So for me, a lot of it's mindset, and that seems to be a big part of what I have to offer everyone that I've kind of been around. And I found so much success since I've started being vulnerable and communicating what I'm going through, is that's when it resonates with people and when I inspire people. So I do the verbal judo on myself so that, you know, I'm thinking I get to make it through this to show other people how to make it through. Yes, I might be depressed and struggling to do this or that, but I'm still out here putting in the effort, so that might motivate someone else to get up and do it anyway. So I just have an amazing support network, and I care about all of you so much that I do have that final backstop of, like, you know, too many people would be bummed out if I wasn't around.
Yeah.
So I think Jesse might be right that I just feel like I have this purpose, so I can't give up or quit. But I also have the empathetic stuff that you and I are advocating for and kind of focusing on right now, where, like, hey, I did it, so that means you can do it too.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to be a light in the dark for people to seek out.
I think another thing that people need to understand is that when you're kind of going through your coping mechanisms and how you cope with things, you need to understand, and I feel like a lot of people feel this, but they don't know how to say it exactly, but coping is a process. It's not a one specific thing that's occurring. You know, you have to go through the motions of coping in order to actually get to that other side. And I'm sure a lot of people who are listeners and our friends and our family and our loved ones, they have their own coping mechanisms that help them deal with their issues. And they may not just rely on one. They may bounce between, you know, sharing their vulnerability with their friends and family while also going to, maybe in your case, meditating or reading a book or something to that effect.
That is a big point, realizing that there's not a right way or a wrong way to do it, and that it continuously takes work or effort. When we talk about coping mechanisms, we're talking about what work do you do to keep going. So what are some of your coping mechanisms, Tim? What do you do? What work do you do to keep going?
So some of my coping mechanisms, I like to expand my knowledge on certain topics. That's whenever I find myself overwhelmed or stressed out, or, you know, maybe I'm having like a sensory overload or something to that effect. I like to buckle down on one topic that I typically find interesting. A lot of the times, lately more so, it's like interviewing and interrogating suspects and criminals. I like to understand the psychology of why you would approach a conversation in this manner or another. So I've become very good at removing myself from my stress and kind of focusing in on something else. And that helps me cool down from the stress or the anxiety or whatever it is that's going on. And it helps me almost reevaluate why I felt that way to begin with. You could also call it technically a distraction if you want, because sometimes I'm not learning about anything particularly important. You know, I'm a huge nerd of random trivia facts that nobody really needs to know, not in your average day to day, you know, like what's a quark?
Yeah.
You know, I find that stuff very interesting. So when I find myself in a stressful or depressed feeling, a lot of the times my go-to coping is to...
Yeah, you focus on something outside of that.
Yeah, I focus in on something else, and it allows me to approach the situation at a later time in a much more cooler mannered.
I like that.
Yeah, it helps and works a lot for me. What about you, Aaron?
I've already talked a lot about my coping mechanisms. You know how I love to exercise, so that's something that we're kind of doing together as we're exercising and kind of pushing each other to keep that side of us active.
Wait a minute. I'm your friend Tim?
You're my friend Tim, yeah.
Oh my god.
That's your name. Was that Scooby-Doo there?
Like, man, I thought I was Shaggy.
That certainly wasn't Halloween.
No, wait, that's
Too
copyright.
comical. Me too. Heck, I'm tired.
Yeah, I feel bad because I kind of, it looked like you had a really good thought, but my brain blurted it out before I could realize, like, no way. I couldn't reach
No. Me forgetting where I was is not your fault. I should do some more push-ups. I'm getting a little bit of itis.
I don't know if you're really big into like taking supplements or anything these days, which me personally, I'm not. Nowadays, all I really take are like a 1-a-day vitamin, and actually, I picked up some small stuff that I used to take back in the day, like CLA and amino acids, like just normal things to help your body. Yeah. But there has been a study that shows taking creatine, which, again, not sure if you're into it or not, but taking creatine can actually improve your cognitive function a little bit.
I'm not surprised because creatine is like a hydration enabler. It feeds water into your muscles and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just makes sense that hydrating your system would lead to mo better.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know. I was kind of surprised when I saw that. I just take a little bit of creatine. They say it can help like elderly individuals with like possibly dementia and things like that. I mean, you know, this was one of those moments where I started focusing in and starting to do research when I started to feel overwhelmed or anxious. And I was like, what does creatine do? Because you always hear like the people being like, oh, don't take creatine. You know what that does to you. And I'm like, actually, no, I don't. Can you tell me what it does to me? No. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so you don't know what creatine does. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I love working out. Yeah. One of the big things, like, especially with getting back into fitness, one of my big arguments or conclusions that I came to was like, I'm not done being strong. So I've got to get back into the fight, you know? Yeah.
Dude, I've had that argument with myself many times over the past couple of years. I've always wanted to get back into the shape that I used to be. You know, I used to just think about it like how did I ever let myself go? You know, I don't look the way I want to anymore. And then the idea of getting back into working out was overwhelming to me. I felt like I was at the bottom of a staircase that went up 20 floors. And I never wanted to take that first step. But now I feel like I'm on the second floor and I only got 18 more to go. And I'm like, this sucks, but I'm too far now to turn around. Why would I?
It's an exciting opportunity. You get to become strong again.
it's that mindset, that change, right? That positive spin I put on it. Like, yes, I'm at the bottom of the staircase, but with every single step, I'm finishing off this staircase. You know, like I'm getting closer and closer to the top. Is it slow? Yes. Is it exhausting? Yes. And am I in a lot of pain and do I feel stressed? Absolutely. But damn it, I am so excited about it.
Yeah. We know the view from the top is going to be beautiful, so we're willing to trudge up the hill.
Yeah. It's going to be worth it, man.
That's a lovely perspective.
You're a lovely perspective.
You're welcome. For me, a lot of the things I like to focus on is like mobility and health. So, you know, I've gotten big before, I've gotten strong before, I've got the 1,000-pound club or whatever. But right now, especially like just trying to stay healthy, I'm focused a lot on, you know, doing half hour of cardio in the morning so that I can breathe and tie my shoes. I'm focused on, you know, working through my entire range of motion in my hips so that I can keep snowboarding. You know, the rollerblading I do is great for my abductors. Yeah, I've been feeling my abductors like on fire. So I know that like my core overall is getting stronger. And I need to stretch my my hip flexors and my this and my that. So, you know I'm improving my joint health and cardiovascular health. So, you know, I'm just excited for the opportunity to be healthy. You know, we've talked about how I got medically retired or whatever, but I still get the opportunity to work my butt off to be able to keep doing the things I love doing.
Yeah. So I think we've said a lot of these things already, but I just kind of want to briefly summarize some stuff here. And I do have a study brought up by the clevelandclinic.org. I don't see who it was written by other than Cleveland Clinic. But we've actually already covered all of these things, but it says right here, and I quote, engage in stress-reducing activities to help your overall approach to coping with stressors. And they list here, good enough quality sleep, eat a well-balanced diet, exercise on a regular basis, take brief rest periods during the day to relax, take vacations away from home and work, engage in pleasurable or fun activities every day, practice relaxation exercises such as yoga, prayer, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation, and avoid use of caffeine and alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we've talked about every single one of those, including the vacation away from home and work, and maybe the avoid use of caffeine and alcohol. I don't think we touched on that one, actually.
Maybe not, but I mean, we definitely invoke those in our lives. Like I try to have 2 cups of coffee and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't drink. I had like half a beer on my wife's birthday with her folks.
That's nice.
So, yeah, I mean, we just try not to intoxicate ourselves so that would diminish our experience.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to be present and healthy.
Yeah, caffeine-wise, you know, I live in the country of espresso, but for the most part, like I usually just have coffee in the morning, like 1 cup, and that's kind of about it. Caffeine throughout the day, not really a thing for me. I drink a literal megaton of water, like at least 2 refrigerators full worth of water.
That's a lot of water.
Oh, yeah. I'm basically a refrigerator filled with water.
Good. Those are my favorite.
And alcohol-wise, like, I very rarely drink these days, especially right now on my fitness challenge. But even before then, when I actually would drink, I would have a little bit of whiskey here and there compared to back in the days when I would drink, you know, a 5th in a day, which was absolutely ridiculous. And I have no idea how my 25, maybe even younger than that, year old self made it to 27. Like, with a liver that still functioned. God, I'm so glad I don't drink like that anymore. Now I just have like a nice glass of whiskey to enjoy, like, oh, this is a nice glass of whiskey. Like, it's one of those sipping things too.
Yep. That's an important thing I like to discuss often, is using things in moderation so that that's healthy. I mean, the only thing that you don't really need to focus on moderation is like water, because you need to drink a lot of water. But if you're drinking like 2 gallons a day every single day and nothing else, you're going to flush all your electrolytes out of your body and you're going to feel awful. So even that, you need to have some moderation. But people underestimate how important it is to be hydrated. And so, like, I'm trying to drink more water. Dad's trying to drink more water. You're obviously drinking tons of water. But, like, that is so vital to your health. And that's how a lot of people are getting sick, is, like, just being dehydrated and worn down. And, you know, their joints are going to crap because they're not engaging in their entire active range of motion. So use it or lose it. Like, you don't wear out, you rust out.
Have you experienced the issue with your wife where you have to be that? It's kind of like a meme at this point, you know, but you have to be that person who's like, have you drank enough water? Oh, you have a headache? How much water have you drank today?
So, yeah, my wife and I quite regularly ask, like, have you eaten today? Have you eaten enough today? Have you had any water? She is very forgetful, so it is normally me who's getting those reminders. But lately she's been very conscious, and I've been really appreciative of, like, I'll be out mowing and she'll be like, have you had any water? And I'm like, no, I'm dying. And she'll bring me, like, you know.
No, I'm literally dehydrated. Like that SpongeBob and Patrick under the heat lamp.
Yeah. Yep. And then, you know, at night, I'll return the favor because, you know, she'll be laying in bed reading. And I'm like, did you take your meds? And she'll be like, oh, no. I'm like, all right, well, I'll bring over her meds and then I'll go take mine.
I kind of do this. I think it's a slightly funnier version of that, but my biggest thing, right, is with my wife, I want her to drink more water, right? And every night before I go to bed, I close up the kitchen because I don't let the cats in there to hang out because reasons, right? But I always grab bottles of water to bring to the bedroom so we have water if we wake up throughout the night and so on and so forth. And I come in there and I set down her water on her nightstand next to her 3 other full waters that are already still sitting there. And she'll be like, babe, I don't need this. And I'm like, too bad. You're going to keep it. And then, like, you look over at mine and all 3 of those bottles are empty. And it's like, yes, you need this water because you're not drinking enough.
Yeah. Some bougie water.
Yeah. But yes, I do consume probably way more microplastics than I ever need to. And that's a whole nother problem that I don't ever want to look into.
Oh, God. Yeah. The amount of plastic and stuff that we've got in our blood.
I do want to mention something, though, kind of bringing it back to, like, coping mechanisms and stuff. Our sponsor, BetterHelp, on their webpage, they actually have a pretty comprehensive article about coping mechanisms and coping skills and examples of negative and positive coping skills. So some things that for emotional focused coping skills, you can do some activities including like journaling, meditating, practice relaxation exercises, positive thinking, reframing, deep breathing in moments of stress, changing thought patterns, practicing forgiveness, and seeking therapy. Those are all options for something that you can do too if you've tried your other list and those aren't working.
Yeah, man. So one of the things that helps me incredibly, I got a $15 canvas Wing Chun punching bag that's like 15 inches by 15 inches.
That's really cool.
And just put like a board up in my garage, nailed it to it, and I just punched the hell out of that thing.
That's awesome. Is it like the Wing Chun dummy that like Ip Man uses in the movie with the like the thing, or is it?
Yeah, no, separate? I don't have one of those because those are specialized beyond my general skills. It's literally like a 15-inch by 15-inch just canvas square that I filled with rice for the striking medium.
Oh, okay.
So it hardens your hands, and like the canvas roughs up the skin so that you get calloused and stuff.
Nice.
It's just an old Eastern punching bag. And since I do Chinese Kung Fu,
I remembered when we were kids. You used to have this like 5-gallon plastic bucket filled with I think it was rice or beans. I can't remember.
Kidney beans, yeah. I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, just dive your hands and fingers into it in multiple different ways.
Yeah. I've always been interested in hand hardening and body hardening and stuff. There are definitely ways to do it right and ways to do it wrong. So far, I haven't really lost any of my dexterity, so hopefully I'm doing it right.
Kind of one of those things
definitely
where I was talking about like the pushing forward with the positive thoughts and the positive momentum that I'm building right now is I've been creating these plans about what I want to do after I'm done with this particular project or goal that I have, right? And one thing that I've included into my next step after, what I'm doing right now, working on, I want to start doing something along those lines because I've watched some videos and done some research on like the rice forearm training, where it's the same concept, right? Like you have like this 5-pound plastic bucket, you fill it full of rice, and literally all you do for like 30 minutes or something, it's like multiple different exercises, but you like jam your hands in there, you squeeze the rice as hard as you can, you like twirl it around, you like spin your wrists clockwise, counterclockwise.
I got you.
Yeah, straight forearm training. It just sounded, to me, I was like, that sounds like it sucks. I can't wait to have the opportunity to try that.
Yeah, that's like the ancient Chinese Kung Fu story of like slapping water, where like they would just have a gigantic receptacle filled with water, and like the acolytes and the monks, they'd be like, slap that barrel until there's no more water in it and fill it back up. And they were like, this is ridiculous and I hate this. And then after an amount of training, they'd be like, all right, go home. That's your whole Kung Fu training. And they'd be like, that's such a ripoff. And they would go home, and people would keep like pestering them like, what did you learn at the Shaolin Temple? And eventually everyone would get so fed up, they'd be like, I didn't learn anything, and like slap whatever they were like sitting at or in front of and just like shatter it. And then like no one would ever bother them again. Because they were like, this dude just shattered a desk just slapping it because he was upset. I'm not going to mess with that guy.
Have you seen those videos of people like slapping watermelons and like trying to crush the watermelon with just their slap?
Yeah. So we always treated watermelon as skin, because if you can pierce watermelon, that's about the same amount of force, or at least that's what we were taught, that it takes to puncture flesh. So with like that finger thrusting training that you were talking about that I used to do, that's what I was training for. I wanted to be able to finger thrust into a watermelon. So I was like, I could literally just like murder somebody by finger thrusting their throat. And like,
we've already said this, but murdering is not good. Okay.
That's why we had a coffee sponsor, so that we do not do any of the murdering.
The anti-murdering juice, BB's Coffee.
Works every time.
So I think, Aaron, we've talked a lot about our coping mechanisms. Maybe we should touch a little bit on our support network. How do you think?
I would love that.
So for me, right, one big thing during my mental health journey and trying to get myself right was the idea of, do I want to do therapy with a psychiatrist and actually sit there and discuss and talk about everything? Do I feel like I need that as part of my journey? And for me personally, I kind of determined that my support network, my support system was very strong. And I felt like the steps that I was taking were the right steps. And I didn't need to add that in there for myself at this point. So, one step at a time, however you want to look at it. But I decided to go the medication route, and my support network filled in the other aspect. And my support network comes down simply to my friends and family. My wife is by far my biggest supporter and my biggest portion of my support network. She is literally the web of my support network. And, I have my great friends like you, Matt, Brian. I have a very healthy relationship with my mom, so I call her very frequently. And on top of that, my additional family now, my family in-laws, they're a phenomenal support system. And they definitely help me whenever I'm facing stressful situations and I'm having a hard time kind of grasping some things. And a story that I could give to kind of explain this a little bit even better was back at the beginning of 2022, my mom had some very severe health stuff going on. And I had to make a lot of very stressful decisions to determine, like what treatment is she going to get? What is our goal to get her? How are we going to get her better? Probably the most stressful 2.5 months I've had in a very long time. And, the hospital would call me. Keep in mind, they're 6 hours behind me. So I would get a phone call. Sometimes I'd get one at midnight my time, or sometimes I'd get it, at 1600 when it's turnover and I'm still in section doing shift work. And I'm trying to close out all the paperwork, and I have the hospital calling me right now. And of course, the paperwork be damned. I don't care about that. Like, I'm going to answer this phone call. Somebody else close out these vehicles. So, the hospital would call me and they'd be like, hey, this is a situation. This is what we have. This is what we would like to do. Do we have your permission to do this? And I would ask them, like, can you explain a little bit in depth about what this does, so on and so forth. They would give me the rundown, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to give you a call back in 5 minutes. And the first person I would call would be my wife. So I can vent out all that stress that I'm feeling from making this decision. And then this very next person I would call would be my mother-in-law, because she was incredible at helping me remove the emotion from that moment. She would, hey, these are the facts. You already have them. You know exactly what needs to be said or needs to be done in this situation. You're doing the right thing right now. And I just felt so empowered and, emotionally supported by them being there. My wife would help me and listen to my stress and be able to, kind of help me calm down and point me, hey, go call my mom. And I'd call her, and she would kind of be like the cherry on top, and she'd be able to break down the facts and tell me this is what I got to do. And that was, 2022. But my relationship with my wife and my in-laws and my friends, that's always been my relationship with them. I've always had that support, that rock, that network, that system that can help me.
That's phenomenal. And I think, I said all my theories are kind of coalescing into one. That's, again, you're just realizing the strength of your team, and your mother-in-law was just being a good friend. At that point, it's kind of her obligation because she's your mother-in-law or whatever. But it's a lot of the key concepts we've already talked about. is just trying to look at things objectively, look at the facts, make your best decision, do whatever you can do, whatever's within your control.
Yeah.
Have your priorities straight so you know family comes first, then work.
Yeah.
You know. And if someone says, you know, hey, we got to do this and it's going to challenge your family's livelihood, obviously we're going to be like, okay, we're not doing that because,
Yeah.
you know.
Something else. Dude, it's just, to me, right, I know these are concepts that we've talked about, but implementing them in the real world, it can be difficult because if you know, that famous quote, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
When that stressor happens, it's going to send your brain on a whole different path. You're going to be haywiring, short circuiting. That's what I'm looking for. That's the term. You're going to literally be short circuiting because lightning coming out of both ears and fire coming out of a nostril. And it's just you know, the fact that I was able to have that support network that was like, okay, hold on, chill out on the electricity. Let's secure that and put the fire away. This is what's happening. This is what you're going to do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's massively important. Man, how good.
What's your support network? Like what, you know, you have your friends and I know that you brag on us 25/8, but you know, can you elaborate or give me a story or something?
Yeah, so again, it's just knowing the strength of your team. So I have different friends I go to for different things. You know, you've known me for half of our lives or more, actually more now. So if I need a perspective on what would I do in this situation, you know me best. So I can, you know, that's important that those around us remind us who we are.
Yeah.
I think it's important to kind of do the Caesar trick where you have someone whispering in your ear that you're only human, but at the same time, you need someone whispering in your other ear that we have the power to change history. And since we are team free will, we can just go in a totally different direction. Every second, we get to decide what we are doing in that moment. And we have to realize the power in that.
Yeah.
So I can either continue to be upset and continue to not do anything, or I can go into my garage and do 50 combination punches. And then that'll make me feel stronger, and then I need to stretch my back because my neck's jacked up. Or, you know, I went rollerblading, so I know I need to stretch or I will hurt. I get to decide if I'm going to stretch or not.
Right.
But I already know the consequences. And so, you know, one of the key things that we're looking for is to be more conscious, to be more present, to be more in the moment. So I realize what my wife is asking me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I realize what she needs from me.
Right.
So that I realize what I need from me. I'm getting better at setting boundaries because my wife has inspired me to do so. But that's just me being a better communicator.
Damn right.
So I think it's important to say that your support network, again, it needs to be people that are challenging you, people that are ensuring you stick to your moral compass, sticking to your guns. You and I are holding each other accountable for our fitness journey. You don't just need people around you who are, you know, going to run and get you a coffee. Have somebody around you who's going to tell you to make your own damn coffee.
That's, a great and incredible way to kind of view your support network.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're just, again, trying to work towards growing as a people. And that's how you do it, is by consciously being a good friend. We need to understand how much power our freedom to make decisions grants us, and then, you know, do the Uncle Ben, great power comes great responsibility, and take accountability for what we can actually control. I feel pretty phone drop or mic drop about that.
Bah.
This has been Aaron
And Tim.
Be good to yourselves and each other. We love you.
Peace.